is the greatest alliance for prosperity and security I think the world has ever seen. Whenever necessary, we absolutely backed each other up, and that's at the core.
Could you take on Russia by yourselves?
Well,
all right, one or two more. Yes.
Between our two countries. That is why this is the greatest alliance for prosperity and security I think the world has ever seen. Whenever necessary, we absolutely backed each other up, and that's at the core.
Could you take on Russia by yourselves?
Well,
actually, now that you mention it, can we appreciate what that was?
That is why this is.
That was. Has anyone ever been punched in the stomach? It doesn't hurt so much as it incapacitates. You get the wind knocked out of you, and you're like, it hurts afterwards, like after you catch your breath. That was a gut punch, not a sucker punch, because he damn well asked for it and damn well deserved it. That's a gut punch to the point where even Keir Starmer himself has to stammer. They should call him Stammering Starmer. I made that up right now. That's patented. That's Viva Frei, trademarked, copyright. Well, we're the greatest allies in the world. Give us more money for NATO, and could you fight Russia on your own? Well, obviously not, fine, sir. Now give me some tea and crumpets. It's not the only sucker punch that we're going to see today. Gut punch, sorry, not sucker punch. That is Donald John Trump reminding Keir Starmer, sorry, we're not equals here. Like it or not, we're not equals. The Canadian government doesn't like being told that either. Sorry, in this wonderful relationship of borders, we're not equals. Sorry, Keir, in this wonderful relationship of bleeding us dry for financial support for your proxy wars against Russia, we're not equals. And you want support, you might have to bend the knee and kiss the ring and acknowledge that. He's not the only person. Let me see. I hope the audio on this one is good enough. Hold on. Let me see if we can listen to this one. This is Zelensky coming into the office.
Yes, I had pretty close. How are you? Pretty sure.
He's all dressed up today.
Twice.
Trump, what's your message to Vladimir Putin, sir? President Trump, President Trump,
Thank you very much.
What's your message to Vladimir Putin? And he gives the fist pump. Oh my God, are they going to go crazy on him for that? People, let me just see something here. He's not dressed up. Is he dressed up or is he not dressed up? Because I guess it's by comparison. And who am I to judge?
Yes, I had pretty close. How are you?
Yes, I had to.
He's all dressed up today.
I gotta take the whole thing is this. I'm gonna stop that one. One way or another, that is Donald John Trump again reminding people of who's in charge and who is the bigger end of the asymmetrical relationship. I can't tell if he was being serious, because we do typically see Zelensky in his speaking of trademark, his trademarked combat shirt. And we see him traditionally almost as undressed up as John Fetterman when going to ask foreign countries for billions and billions of more dollars to continue fighting a war that arguably should have never started in the first place. He was wearing a long sleeve that had two buttons. I don't know if you call that a button up. So I'm not sure if he was being serious, that at least he was better dressed than his military fatigue that has become his Che Guevara type patent or trademark, or if he was making fun of the fact that he wasn't dressed up, despite the fact that he's going to the White House. You know who did get dressed up yesterday? The influencers, people. Okay. All right. First of all, good morning, California. Good morning, Central. And good afternoon, East Coast. And good evening, Keir Starmer, if you're back and you're First Amendment rights violating hellhole of a country where you lock people up for social media posts. Encrypt this. I know Tommy Robinson just posted a video, and it was referencing, it was on Twitter, and it was a video talking about how they still, the government purports that there's freedom of speech over in England. I don't know if you can find it. I should have brought it up earlier, but on the day when Keir Starmer, the statist son of a bitch tyrant that he is, locking people up for social media posts that criticize immigrants, illegal immigrants in their country, that bring to the light the failed immigration policy of the Starmer and the prior government. They're locking them up, literally. Tommy Robinson, the man who blew the lid off the arguable but not so arguable. I've seen the documentary. I've seen sufficient receipts to now firmly believe, in my humble opinion, I won't be going to the UK anytime soon. That I forget the name of the kid, the Syrian refugee boy who was the victim of a racist waterboarding attack from a horrible white nationalist UK British boy, that it was a big fat effing hoax along the lines of Nicholas Salmon. If you don't know the story for that, look up the Syrian refugee waterboarding incident. Jamal was, I believe, his name. Whatever. And that story sparked outrage. That was like Nicholas Sandman on steroids. Tommy Robinson, before he was locked away for 18 months for contempt for violating the non-publication ban on his documentary called Silenced, which exposed the fact that that was a big fat effing hoax that went all the way international. Tommy Robinson had posted something to the effect that, this is the UK. And, while Keir Starmer's off kissing the ass of Donald Trump, he's in jail. Let me see if I can find this. He's in jail for having...
I just dropped a link. I'm not sure if this is the video you're looking for. Look in our private chat.
Who was that? That is Encryptus, everybody, who's working on the Epstein files, generating something AI-oriented that can... Tommy Robinson responds to the House of Lords 3 hours ago. Let's see this here. Okay, we're gonna come back to it because I'm gonna put this on pause because Liz Wheeler. Oh my goodness, am I saying Liz Wheeler all day long? Liz is here. Liz, I see in the backdrop. You can come in and enable your camera, or do I have to do that? Hold on. Do I need to accept? I think I've turned off acceptance required. Liz, I see you. Come on in when you're ready! Exclamation point, smiley face. We have Liz Wheeler. We're not going to talk about White House, but how? Encryptus, do you know how I bring someone in?
So all she's got to do is turn her camera on and turn her mic on, and she'll be in.
You should just enable your camera and enable. There you are. Okay. Liz Wheeler,
Hi.
all episode. I'm sorry. How are you doing?
I am doing okay. I have, of course, been thinking about all of this pretty much obsessively the last 24 hours. So I appreciate you having me on the show to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
It needs to be talked about more, actually.
Well, a full disclosure, I'm not giving you a hard time for anything or anyone out there. Like, everyone's going to oh, why? It drives me nuts because there's the picture of Trump smiling, posing with the family of the soldier who had died in the cemetery, and everyone's like, why would he smile in a picture like that? And I'm like, first of all, okay, I understand how the left will use that optically, but the people who said that was ridiculous are now seemingly applying the same standard or lack thereof to you. But before we even get into any of this, you were not the person in the movie Road Trip. You are not Amy Smart. You're
Correct.
younger than Amy Smart now. I feel like I know you because I've seen you in a number of movies. But Liz, for those who don't know who you are, a very brief intro so that they can know.
Yeah, my name is Liz Wheeler. I host the Liz Wheeler Show, partnered with Blaze TV. I used to be a cable news host for 5 years. I hosted a show on One American News Network. Then I went independent. Then I partnered with the Blaze. I'm the author of 2 books: Tipping Points, How to Topple the Left's House of Cards, and yeah, I was invited to the White House. Do you want me to just jump into this narrative of what happened?
Into it. I think my crowd knows. I've been on Twitter, I say relatively vocal. I just want to clarify what happened so people can stop saying wrong things. Please jump into it.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say I actually understand. I know that there's been a lot of vitriol thrown at me on X, and that's okay because I understand why people are mad. I am also mad. They're mad because they believed that they were subject to a bait and switch, that they were teased, via these posts and told that they were going to get the Epstein files, and they believed very normally, this is a normal assumption, that they were going to be getting the dirtiest dirt that our government has ever been involved in. And when that wasn't what happened, when they didn't get that dirt, they were just, mad about it. That's normal, and I feel the same way. But I want to say a couple of things. And I think that the best way to go about this actually is kind of just to tell a narrative of the whole day. That was obviously never the intention for there to be any kind of bait and switch. And I think those who follow me, I mean, millions and millions of you have been with me for the last decade now. And you know that I'm not clickbaity. You know that I'm not just going for views. So look at a pattern of behavior before you get too angry about it. And I know that everyone on this stream is looking for the truth. So let me offer some of that to clarify this. So we were invited, a couple of us were invited to the White House yesterday. Now, this was about 2 weeks ago that I got an invite to the White House, and I was just asked to come to the White House to meet with JD, the vice president. I wasn't told why. I even asked why, and I wasn't given a lot of clarification. I'll tell you a little behind the scenes. I actually thought they were calling me in to scold me because I had just gone on Glenn Beck's radio show and criticized Trump's executive order on IVF. I don't agree with him on that. And I thought they were calling me in to say like, hey, could you not do that? But you get an invite to the White House, you go to the White House. Didn't even know there were other people involved. So I get there, there's about 15 of us, new media personalities, I would call us, who were there. And the point of the day, the purpose of our visit, I want to say this up front, was not the Epstein files. The purpose of our visit was actually to replace the legacy media. They were inviting us to have access to the president, the vice president, the secretary of state, the advisors, the secretary of health and human services, the attorney general, the FBI director. We met personally with all of them.
And if I don't want to interrupt too often, and I'm going to try not to, but just to clarify that there were others who were there who received an invite that for them it was pre-scheduled in advance of anything Epstein related. And
yes,
the meeting for some, as far as I understand, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, was planned in advance, had nothing to do with the Epstein files for some of the people who were there, and you get a last minute or an on the moment.
No, I mean, I think we all were invited several weeks ago.
Okay.
I don't think I was given a last minute invitation. I can't speak for anybody else because I didn't know who was going to be there until I arrived. I didn't know what the meeting was about until I arrived. I think that my understanding, again, not going to speak for anybody else, my understanding is that was the same situation for many people, that this was planned a couple of weeks ago. That's when the invites went out, et cetera, et cetera. So we get there and we have these meetings with the various, heads of different agencies. And it was really quite something, right? We were in the White House in the West Wing, and we were being told, listen, we're not going to reward, we were being told by the White House, I should say, that we're not going to reward the legacy media anymore because they lie and they smear and they gaslight. We're going to give you guys access. So we want you to meet with all of these different, these different secretary cabinet members and ask your questions, see what they're doing, blah, blah, blah. Replace the media. So then, of course, we get to our portion of the meeting. This is probably halfway through the meeting. It was a whole morning thing, a whole day thing, really. And Attorney General Pam Bondi, it's her turn to speak with us. She comes in the room with FBI Director Kash Patel, and they sit down and they introduce themselves. They talk to us for a couple minutes, and then Attorney General Pam Bondi brings out these, banker's boxes with these white binders, and she lifts one up. And of course, our reaction in the room when we saw the front cover page of that, it says Epstein Files Phase 1. We had the same reaction as everybody online when you saw the pictures of it. Like, oh my gosh, is this the dirt? Is this are we finally going to have accountability for these heinous crimes that Epstein committed that government officials were likely complicit in covering up? And Attorney General Pam Bondi, before we had even finished our reaction, told us, no, this is not the dirt. This is not the juicy stuff that you think it's going to be. This right here, this binder was given to me by the FBI when I ordered them to turn over all the Epstein documents to me. This is what they gave me. And they assured me this was the complete Epstein files. And she was like,
if I may pause you there, and
yeah.
This is not a cross-examination, so don't take it that way at all. People are asking the question, and I asked privately to someone else, who printed up those documents? Who printed up multiple copies of the binders? Because I'm just wondering, say it was either an idea to give, someone's asking in our chat, to give it as souvenirs, but
no, I'll tell you exactly what it was. Let me just finish. In 1 minute, you'll have the answer to that question. And like I said, I don't speak for the White House or for Pam Bondi or for anything else. I'm just telling you my personal involvement in this story. So Pam Bondi was given this 200 pages, and it's really nothing. I mean, you saw what was in it. It was
nothing, literally nothing new, but actually
there were maybe
stuff.
5 or Exactly. Some of the redacted stuff, there's actually unredacted forms of that online already. The Rolodex means nothing. It's just a bank of phone numbers. Nothing. It's a nothing burger. And we were told that right from the get-go. But the story was not that binder. The story, or it wasn't the fact that they were going to release that binder. The story, and Pam Bondi holds up this letter that she had written to Kash Patel at the same moment. This is all her introduction to this binder. The story that she was giving to us as an exclusive, and this is a very important point to make too, was not the Epstein files. The story she was giving to us as an exclusive so that the mainstream media didn't report it first because they don't deserve access to these people running our country because they have lied and tried to get them, was that the SDNY, swamp creatures, deep staters, were defying President Trump, defying Bondi, and defying Kash Patel. That is the story. I posted that last night, and I know people are interested in the truth because last time I checked, it had been viewed about 47 million times. People want to know what the real story is. And let me I'm going to do Trump's bob and weave here for a second, because I think it's really important to talk about that photograph that happened outside the back of the White House. So after we had met for, 20, 30-minute periods, with each of these cabinet secretaries, President Trump walks in the room. And he was not on our schedule to see, but he walks in the room and talks to us and then invites us to come on a tour of the Oval Office, which is a chilling moment. It's really a moving moment to go into the Oval Office. This is part of our history. It was really cool. We're all political nerds. We were very giddy about this. He was showing us the different artwork on the wall. He gave us each a coin. I mean, a visit to the White House. Who's not gonna be enthralled by this?
No, some people
And
might be jealous that they didn't get one, but it's set
Well,
that aside.
whatever. That's whatever. And then our last meeting of the day was with HH Secretary RFK Jr. And again, I'm not going to speak for anybody else who was in that group, but it's pretty obvious that many of us in that group are very maha. We were very excited to meet with RFK Jr. I got to ask him some really pointed, interesting questions, and I got some really good information about what he's going to do to take on Big Pharma. And I can't even tell you how excited that makes me. And again, just telling you the narrative. So then we were told the UK Prime Minister is set to meet with Donald Trump. You guys got to get out of this room, because we were in the room. I don't even remember the name of it, but it's the one where all the cabinet members meet right across from the Oval Office. It's a secure room. So we had to ditch our cell phones when we went into the West Wing in that little secure box where they put all technology. Now you have a bunch of ex addicts in this room with all of this new information, and we were like chomping at the bit to get to our phones. So we were like, okay, you got to get out of this room because the UK Prime Minister's coming. We are kind of quickly ushered out this back door. And one of the things that was happening at that time is we were all just like, for a moment, we let not even the professionalism, but the decorum of being in the Oval Office drop for a second and let ourselves be giddy. We thought we were just alone. And we were like, we were just in the Oval Office. How freaking cool was that? Like, look at this coin that I got and this coin that I got. And then a White House staffer, who, I mean, I think this is hilarious. A White House staffer, guys, get out the door. The British are coming. The British are coming. And you got a group of political nerds. That's hilarious. When's the last time in the White House, they've yelled the British is coming? That's what we were laughing at when we were walking out that door. We encountered an unexpected gaggle of press out that back door. And the unexpected gaggle of press, you should have seen their faces. Like bitter, dour, sour, disgusted to see us. And what did we do? We were like, hey there, yes, we were in the White House and you're relegated to the bushes because you lie, you defame us, you smear us, you gaslight us, and now you're being punished for it. You're outside in the bushes and we're inside. Now, another interesting and very important part of this story is we had not been given an embargo. Yeah, there it is. On that information, on that binder, and the actual story, which in all of our hands, or I think I was holding it behind the binder, that letter from Pam Bondi, the SDNY obstruction, that's the story. We had not been given.
And just to, this is the letter. And just
Yes.
like I was in communication with someone, I was told, here's the letter, but there's an embargo on it. And like, I'm such an
Yes.
idiot. I don't even know if by mentioning the embargo, I'm violating the embargo. So
Right, exactly.
And it's again, it's not my story to break. So I had seen this and I sort of understood in advance where this was going. We're still going to get to some more questions afterwards. But so that letter, and I covered it in a video yesterday, it explains what's going on. If you believe it, some people might be too cynical to believe it. It says,
right, and we can get to that, but let me tell you what happened with the embargo exactly in those pictures, because I do think it's worth people understanding what happened, especially because people are rightfully so emotional about the topic of Epstein because of what he did, because we believe our government lied to us, because we're expecting now the Trump administration to be transparent, to release these things to us. So what happened is after we encounter this press gaggle and they're being so like beyond snooty at us, we were just taunting them, right? They're like, what are you holding? And so we're like, this is what we're holding. And we're not going to let them break the story. We're about to break the story. And we believe that within about 90 seconds, 2 minutes, we're going to be taken downstairs to our phones and we're all going to go live and show the letter with the Epstein files. And there's never going to be any confusion about what that binder is. But what happened instead is right after we held up those binders, taunting the media because they were not given this exclusive, they leaked that and people on X started to see it. But then a moment later, we were asked to embargo all of the information until 3:30. And in my opinion, if I'm going to be blunt here, I think that was a mistake. to ask us to a critical mistake to ask us to embargo that information because it allowed people's anticipation to grow and for the story to be completely misconstrued and for the real scandal to be hidden. So what happened then, and it's actually like compounds on this, not only were we asked to embargo the information, which is very common in journalism. It's a daily, and you encounter embargoes on a daily basis when you're getting access to classified information and the like, and scoops and the like. There's always an understanding between the two parties of when something's going to be published. That's totally normal, no matter whether you work for legacy media or new media or whatever. You guys already know this. I don't need to tell you something that you don't know. But we were then told, once this started circulating, yes, you can go ahead and post the picture of the cover. Again, the understanding, at least on my part, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, is that once we posted that picture, within about a minute, we'd be able to post the story. Meaning we'd be able to post Pam Bondi's letter. So when I posted exclusive, I did have an exclusive. My exclusive is the story about the SDNY obstructing Pam Bondi and hiding these Epstein files. But we were then told, actually, no, wait, because they didn't want all the questions during the Donald Trump UK Prime Minister press conference to be to Donald Trump about the Epstein files.
And let me look. I know this, so I could have argued this for you, and I just want to. And I'm not your advocate, but I think you're right and honest, and I'll defend what I think is right and honest. You post this, and everyone's like, "Why did she say exclusive?" Even when I saw this. And then you get a stupid ass community note. The information in the binder. Well, first of all, the exclusive does not reference the content of the binder, but rather exclusive story, presumably. And I take that with the same grain. Yeah, go for it. And then by the way, an hour later.
Also, this is really important though. Also, when I posted exclusive, I'm posting that not to be clickbaity. All of us, by the way, not to go on a tangent here. All of us who operate on the online thought leadership. In the online thought leadership sphere, have an opportunity on a daily basis to be bombastic, to be clickbaity. I have always chosen not to do that. And everyone who follows me knows that. They know that I'm an honest broker. They know that I'm willing to speak the reality and to criticize even those on our own side when it's necessary. So when you see something like this, the exclusive was the SDNY, but it also wasn't to tease those who didn't have the information already. We were given to understand that there would be a link to a website from the Department of Justice that would simultaneously be released to the public so that actually everybody had the documents at the same time. I don't have an answer about why that was not done until later that day. Another critical error, but that is what we were given to understand. And that word exclusive was me thumbing my nose at the legacy media, telling them I got the story because I got access to the people that you lied about, that you defamed, and that you tried to gaslight the American people about. So again, context is king here, but I got to tell you, I was frantic behind the scenes as I'm watching this unfold. Frantic. I mean, I'm not going to reveal to you, just out of respect and human decency, the text messages that I'm sending to the White House during this, when I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I have to release this. People are misconstruing this. Can I please post this? Because it's their information and they embargoed it. I don't even know the legal implications when something's like classified. Am I even allowed to be disrespectful?
I would not.
Whatever.
I would not violate a White House embargo myself, but never been in that position.
I didn't. So again, I understand why people are angry about this. I also am angry about it. My anger is aimed at the SDNY. And I know there are some people that question that. We can talk about that. But just for the purposes of this conversation, when someone tells you something and you are unable to verify it, you do basically a quick character analysis, right? Is this person a credible person? Pam Bondi tells us a whistleblower called her the night before this happened. I didn't get a call from the whistleblower. I didn't see the documentation, emails, or I have no idea how this whistleblower reached out to her. And I have to choose, do I believe her or do I not believe her? Typically, how we operate as human beings is we extend the benefit of the doubt on things as serious as this to those who are on our own side. If the president tells you something, the attorney general tells you something, you can choose to believe it or not to believe it. I chose to believe it, but also spent a long time last night analyzing, well, is there evidence that this is not true? What would be the implications for Pam Bondi if what she had said was not true? The implications, of course, would be almost immediate, complete political destruction. So that doesn't make sense to me that it would be a lie. And the SDNY is known. They have a track record of being the most corrupt entity in the entire United States justice system. So it's not hard for me to believe that they are trying to hide these Epstein files from Pam Bondi. But all of that to say, I mean, I understand why people are mad. I'm mad too. But I'm mad at the SDNY, and then I'm obviously a little chagrined at how the process rolled out, because I ended up receiving the ire for something that was never my intention to do. I mean, you guys are my people, right? We've been through everything together, from COVID to January 6th to election stealing to assassination attempts. I have always been transparent with you. I've always been authentic with you. I've always told you the truth, even when it's not easy. And that's no different yesterday and no different today.
Well, I would just add as a qualifier, it's not even people who are on your side that you give the benefit of the doubt to. It's people who have a proven track record of being honest and sincere. That could even extend to people on the other side. I've made fun of people for smiling in a picture. This Canadian woman who was smiling with a Nazi that they invited into the parliament. I'll make fun of them because they have a track record of being deceitful scoundrels and calling other people Nazis. So there's a bit of irony there. And the issue is, like, you ended up looking either like a useful tool or someone who's trying to chase clout with as if you need to do that. The question is this: the botched rollout. I listened to Glenn Beck, and he was, he goes into all the possibilities. And Robert Barnes talking about it last night also on our locals community says this might have been done on purpose to raise awareness and to say, look, Pam Bondi thought she had everything and then finds out the night before that she didn't. And I'm going to take her at her word. Was she, when she said she had the file on her desk, she's looking to look it over? When did she become suspicious that it didn't contain all of the information?
Right. Well, I don't know. I don't speak for the Attorney General. I will tell you one. I don't even know whether to call it a red flag or lapse of judgment is probably how I would call it. If you read that letter, you can probably put it back up on the screen, or I can just paraphrase it. There's a portion of the letter where she says, I made repeated requests for the entirety of the Epstein files. Again, that's a paraphrase, so you can read the exact, I don't have the exact text in front of me. But the essence of what she says is, I made repeated requests to the FBI to make sure, is this all? Because when you see it, it's like, obviously not all. That's why I said she smelled a rat from the beginning. But I think the lapse of judgment was taking the FBI at their word, because we know when you cut off the head of a snake, when you replace a political appointee at the top of an agency, that doesn't mean that all the swamp creatures who have been burrowed in this agency in order to defy the administration that they don't like are going to, start complying with that administration. Well, she should have done her due diligence. I don't know what she did or what she didn't do. I don't know what Kash Patel did, what he didn't do, what he's doing right now. I mean, there's a lot of questions that I think we're going to get answers to in the next few days. The good thing about all of this is this will be pretty easy to see whether it was just sort of a botched comms thing and people got mad about it because they thought they were getting dirt and then they didn't. And your gut reaction to that is being mad. I think some of the vitriol that was aimed at me is also because I am not one of the clickbait influencers. I am not a grifter, and people know that. They know my track record. They know I'm an honest broker. So they saw this and they were like, wait, what? What are you doing?
Well, is it possible that there's some form of sabotage, not just against the administration, but to make all of you look like grifters?
I don't think so.
It would be a very unlikely thing.
Why would they do that? See, that's the thing.
It wouldn't be Bondi.
It would be motive.
I'm looking just to see, like, are there deep state, deep state everywhere? Like, oh yeah, let's screw this up. Let's make Pam Bondi look stupid. Let's make these otherwise respected, call them conservative alternative media, look like fools. And let's start some infighting within conservatives, because that's exactly what's happened.
I don't have any evidence of that. I don't see any evidence of that. I haven't really given a lot of thought to that. I think that the Epstein files are one of these moments in American history. We're all waiting for evidence that Donald Trump is going to do what he said he was going to do. The Elon Musk doging all of these agencies is one of them that, oh my goodness, he actually is torching the deep state. And I think this is one of those moments. I don't want to call it a litmus test because that has a negative connotation, but we're all burned. We all have lived through abusive government. I mean, whether it's the FBI itself calling us domestic terrorists for opposing CRT and vaccine mandates and transing kids, or whatever you have it. We've been pro-lifers thrown in prison. We have been burned so badly by the deep state, and that deep state burned us even while President Trump was in office the first time, because they targeted him unfairly because he represented us. And so I would call us, there's an old saying that says, once burned, twice shy. And I think that is us. I think that we are burned, and we almost can't bring ourselves to believe that actually we are going to see all of the Epstein files. And because it's such a horrendous crimes, that he committed that our government helped cover up or were implicated in. This is almost an unthinkable atrocity, morally, physically, ethically, spiritually, governmentally. That it's just I think they underestimated what an emotional topic it would be, and then it was just, I mean, it was almost like low level, bad, botched out comms decisions that accidentally culminated in that.
That's what I tend to think as well. I was not inspired by the House GOP or whatever, the Judiciary GOP tweet afterwards, which was the Rickroll. You saw that?
I did see that. I obviously had nothing to do with that.
No,
I
for
think
sure,
that was in bad taste. I have no idea who did that. I think that caused the pylon to be even worse, because then the American people feel like their government is making fun of them again.
Yes.
Like, no one wants to feel like that.
I thought maybe it was a misconstrued joke. Like they were saying, you guys got rickrolled by the deep state. And so maybe it was that type of joke that didn't get, I mean, I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I think it was some jokes you just don't make jokes of in a circumstance.
Right.
And some people are going to say, don't smile with the binders because of how serious it is. If they don't accept your explanation for that, they're looking for trouble or they're looking for fights. The main issue is Pam Bondi, and I think this is coming from people misconstruing or misrepresenting what she said. She was on TV a couple weeks ago, said, I've got the file on my desk to review or for review, and I'm going to do that in the coming days. And then she was asked by that guy, have you seen anything shocking in it? And she says, no, not yet, because I haven't reviewed it yet. She reviews it, and then she goes on Jesse Waters, I guess it was the night before yesterday, and people are saying on that show that she confirmed that they're going to release all sorts of information. When I'm going to pull the clip up after you're gone.
Yeah, pull the clip up, because I rewatched that this morning. I rewatched that this morning because I heard the same thing, and I didn't watch it live because, I don't watch cable news.
Let me see if I can find this real quick, because I listened. And I'm like, again, maybe I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt because I believe Pam Bondi. I don't think the clip says what people say it says. Here it is, right here. Boom.
Well, I think it's roll it first, and then I'll tell you what I think.
Okay, here we go. Let's see. Is this it? No, that's just the picture. Darn it. Hold on. This is it right here.
What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow. Is,
let me start.
Last night on Jesse Waters Primetime, Attorney General Pam Bondi said this.
What you're going to see hopefully tomorrow is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
See, that's the clip. And for those who think analytically, are two distinct statements. It's pretty sick what the man did. Yes. What you're going to see tomorrow is a bunch of flight logs, which we already knew. The stupid Rolodex, which doesn't confirm anything other than the fact that he had maybe a list of aspiring clients. She did not say, as far as I can tell, and if I'm wrong, go ahead and blame me and blame Bondi. I don't think she said, you're going to see shocking stuff tomorrow and we're going to reveal it. She said what I think she said.
Yeah, I mean, I see it pretty much the same way. Like I said, I'm not running interference for her or speaking for the White House or anything like that. I'm just telling you the story, telling you the truth, telling you what happened. But when I went back and listened to that, I interpreted it much the same way, that she said, no, there's not much in it. It's flight logs. It's a Rolodex. And then it seemed like an actual separate thought. I will call it that. When she said what this man did was pretty sick. I don't think I think that's probably just a level of interview skill. That's my personal analysis, and I don't mean to be rude here, but she didn't pause between those two thoughts, and so it looked like the second thought, that what you're going to see here, what he did was pretty sick, means that's what you're going to see.
Yeah.
But she didn't actually say that, so I think that was just a poor way of communicating.
Some people are suggesting this is 4-dimensional chess, and that it was a deliberate setup so that it could draw more attention to it and highlight the corruption in the SDNY. I like to say you don't need to make these types of mistakes, strategic mistakes, to even make certain people look bad so that you can further the truth. I just think it was a botched communication.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. If it had happened the way that we expected it to happen, if it had happened in the ideal way, then what would have happened is we would have walked out of the back of the White House. We would not have encountered the press gaggle. We would have been taken down to our cell phones. We would not have been given an embargo. And what would have happened is the story would have broken on X, because we all have tremendous influence on X. The story about the SDNY stonewalling would have broken, and people's perception of that binder would have been, can you believe the deep state gave this to Pam Bondi and pretended that this was the whole thing? That would have been the ideal scenario, and that's what should have happened. And in that case, that's fine. I mean, like I said, it was a fraction of, it wasn't what the day was about. We weren't called, or we weren't invited to the White House for
the Epstein documents.
No.
That's what people don't understand. They didn't understand.
I think that's important, though.
For sure. And they didn't understand there was an embargo. They're going to say, oh, you posted the exclusive. You had an exclusive. Just the events of that day is an exclusive because you were one of the 8 people that was at the White House. And I'll accuse me of giving you the benefit of the doubt until proof to the contrary, you deserve it. So Amazing. Now I know you had a hard out, I thought, but have I
Yeah,
held
that's
you?
okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Now, and not to keep you longer than I want to keep you, but may I ask you some of the questions that people have in the chat here?
Yes, please
And,
do.
and tell me when you need to go because I don't want to be greedy.
Sure.
This is
Yeah,
why
what
we
time is it?
needed
12?
Gates, who wants retribution. Okay, that's here. I'm going to just pull up random ones while we do this. The SDNY FBI did not make the White House to print the binders the most transparent administration. Who made the decision to give those binders out as souvenirs? Well, this is a qualifying judgmental. My understanding, DOJ printed up multiple binders. The purpose of those binders was what?
I mean, I would actually agree with that commenter that the cover sheet on that binder was probably a lapse in judgment. But if you think of it in the scenario that I just explained, which is what was supposed to happen, there wouldn't have been a misunderstanding of what it was. These were the documents that were given to the FBI by the FBI to Pam Bondi. She was going to release them because the FBI told her that that's all there was. But that turned out not to be the case. So
Well,
I have no idea whose idea the actual binders were, except for that. I mean, it is in defense of the binders, it is like kind of chilling. I actually have it with me, but I forgot to bring it into the studio. It is kind of chilling to hold it in a like tangible, concrete sense and to be like, this is proof that the deep staters that there are swamp creatures, that there are, I mean, they're borderline traitors, in my opinion, who are defying the chief executive and trying to weaponize the government against their people. And to see that kind of blatant lie, but like to feel it, to smell the paper, to feel the plastic, and to have it like right there in front of you is actually, I think, a powerful way to tell that narrative. And so again, I think had it been done in the way that we expected, had it been done properly, it wouldn't have been the binders itself. Like I guess that the binders itself would not have been the object of ire. It wouldn't have been like, well, whose decision was it to print the binder? No, actually, the binder's proof of this corruption, and sometimes tangible proof makes a story more real.
It's not just that. I now that I can imagine how they intended it, is that they give you the binder of redacted documents and say, this is what's been disclosed to the public, while simultaneously the SDNY, the FBI out of SDNY, is refusing to communicate documents and probably destroying evidence as we speak. And when you put those two things together, here's what they want to give us, and it's all redacted. How shocking should you find this? You should.
Yes.
And while they're refusing, that in conjunction with one another, rolled out properly, illustrates the absurdity of this is what they gave us, and now we know that they're withholding other information.
Exactly, and that was my understanding of the intention. I think it was all of our understanding of the intention. And then you can call it bad luck that the press gaggle was there. You could call it bad planning and bad communication, not telling us about an embargo until we had already taunted the media with it, thinking that we were going to post this probably before they were even able to send their photos to their editors.
That's another thing that people don't appreciate, is that their photo of everybody that went viral before the embargo had been lifted, correct?
Long before. That was the first thing that went viral. And then when that thing went viral, we were told, well, fine, since the front of the binders is already public, I guess you can post the front of the binder. And simultaneously, as we're posting that, it's my expectation is that about 2 minutes later, they were I expected them to give me permission to post the real story. I thought I was going to thread it with that before that thing even went viral. That was my understanding of the situation. And again, a serious lapse in judgment not to lift that embargo the second that photo surfaced. Yes, obviously. I mean, look at what happened as a result of that.
It was I said, like, it was a big mistake. I don't think it's unforgivable for anybody. People calling for Pam Bondi to resign without appreciating what went into getting her confirmed in the first place. It's short-sighted beyond words. There's no effing way that she actually thought it was all the files. This is Encryptus. He's actually the man behind the scene for us here. This is a career legal professional, and to think that the flight log and contact list and the entire output, yada, yada, yada. I get the idea. When she told you that, I became suspicious that this was not the entire file. I mean, if you could relay the words that she was using, but when she went on TV and said, I've got the file on my desk for review, did she mention when she was giving you this preamble when she got suspicious that it wasn't the entire file?
No, she didn't. But I actually share that question. It's the point that I brought up when we showed the letter, when I said I think one of the fatal mistakes here was assuming that just asking the FBI to give her the full files and asking again would have resulted in her getting all of those files. And I do think that is, we'll call it a mistake, but I do think that is a serious judgment that she made that could be analyzed further.
It could be either naive, strategic, or I'm going to look it over, and it doesn't look like the whole thing, and now I've set it all up where they've systematically refused to cooperate. Have
There's
you heard
also
it?
a lot going on in the DOJ, by the way.
That's another. I mean, that's another. Look, I know that had it been the other administration doing it, I would probably be thinking they're not releasing it. They're going to, what's the word? Not walk the dog, but they're going to play everybody because they're covering for their friends. I don't believe anything on Trump there's anything incriminating on Trump. It would have been out a decade ago. That might not be true for people who might be closely related or affiliated with the GOP. The Reid Hoffmans, we're all strongly suspicious. But if it were the other side, I'd say, yeah, they're covering up for their friends. There's no way that they can get out of releasing what has not yet been disclosed. Sorry, that was the question. And I'll get to the tweet. So, someone said that the reason why they're not disclosing this is because of Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal to the Supreme Court.
Oh, yeah. Katie Pavlich posted that point
Yeah.
this morning. I actually thought that was a good point because it is then an active investigation. Now, I can tell you what I would do if I were the Trump administration right now. I can tell you what I would do if I were Pam Bondi. I can tell you what I would do if I were Kash Patel. And I can tell you that I think that we all should be, and a lot of you are already, what we should be pressuring the administration to do. But this can all be cleared up. This story can be a whole different animal by next week if we go in. If President Trump himself, that would be ideal, goes to the SDNY, demands those documents, and then shows us those documents. Because this goes back to the people who think that Pam Bondi was lying about the SDNY stonewalling her. Well, that can easily be proven. Go get those documents. Go get those documents and show them to us. Because if you told us that there were thousands of documents, you gave us this exclusive to break this story, telling everyone that you would be turning them over, and then you don't, then yeah, we have a serious problem. But if it is true, then go get the documents and show us the documents. And Kash Patel should fire every single person at the SDNY. He should raise that place. I mean, this heads should roll over what the SDNY did by stonewalling Pam Bondi and defying the president of the United States. Again, I know I'm circling back to my whole "this is the story" post because I believe that the SDNY stonewalled Pam Bondi. If there's evidence that she's lying, which I haven't seen, then, like I said, I'm not religiously tied to any politician. I believe any politician can lie at any time, and they often do. But I'm not just going to say, oh, she's probably lying when I see no evidence of that. I see it as more likely that the SDNY is stonewalling.
Oh, no, if you really want to get conspiratorial, she's in on it. She's lying. In the interim, they're destroying the evidence. They're going to turn it all over. And alas, we don't have anything really incriminating. More likely than not, SDNY, we all know it's the second most corrupt district in America, right up there with DC. They're protecting for their own politically oriented political allies in the state of New York. And they did, in fact, lie to Pam Bondi. She did, in fact, know. And whether or not they did this on purpose to raise maximum awareness or had a very bad rollout, this is where we're at right now. I want everyone to stop freaking out against everybody who was involved in clickbaiters and whatever. It's so stupid. You were there not because you're in the industry for the need of clickbait, but because you're so respected already. They invited you to be there. I can understand some people being jealous they weren't invited. I'm certainly not one of those people. I just want to make sure there's no more misunderstanding. Have I forgotten to ask you anything that you wanted to say?
No, listen, I appreciate you having me on. I think that, like I said, I understand people's, I would call it righteous indignation, outrage. I guess I don't really care. All the vitriol aimed at me, well, it was based on what they thought they were going to receive, and they didn't. But the reason for that wasn't the reason that they assumed that it was. And so hopefully just communicating this to people. I mean, people are smart. Like I said, actually, the real story about the SDNY, that's the thing that it went beyond mega viral yesterday. So people care about finding reality, and they care about what I had to say about that. They care about what the real story is. And I kind of think that this other miscommunication or misunderstanding based on the botched embargo, I do think it's a distraction from the real story. And I'm eager for us to get past that so that we can focus on getting these traitors out of the FBI. I mean, that's why we were all excited for Kash Patel to be confirmed in the first place.
Yeah, well, it's easier to talk about other people than it is to talk about the complex issues or the more complicated issues. So some people are going to, get their own clicks off of the infighting. When I first saw the letter of the letter that I was sent, I was like, "There's an embargo on this, so I'm not breaking it." I was like, that's a big issue, and that is the issue. Then it just becomes a question of why did
the story.
Yeah, no, but then it just, people can say, well, why did Pam say what she said when she said it? What did she know? Legit questions. But unless you think Pam Bondi is a traitor who is actively covering up for the clients or the perpetrators of the Epstein files, unless you think that, you're getting sidetracked. If you think that, get the evidence, because those are some pretty serious allegations. Liz, everybody knows where to find you, but where can they find you?
Well, you can go to x.com/Liz_Wheeler. That's where I think everyone else on X is has been in the past 24 hours. Listen, I spent hours last night scrolling through all my mentions, scrolling through all the responses. Yes, even the nasty ones, even the mean ones, because I care about what you think. I care about what you feel. I care about your response. I care about being transparent and honest and communicating properly to you. I hope that you see that. I hope you appreciate that. We're going to go live here. We were going to go live at 1, but I think we stayed a little bit long here. We're going to go live here probably in the next 15 minutes over on X and on YouTube and on Facebook. And I'll flesh out a couple more of these stories about what happened behind the scenes. So we'd love to see you over there as well.
All right. Are you not on Rumble?
Not right. Not going live. No.
Oh, well, I won't ask why not. There might be some contractual reasons that are none of my business. Liz, I'll put up your links and pin them up there when we're done. All right, thank you for coming on and not just clarifying what happened that day, but the substance of this is the story to follow. If it's true that the SDNY was defying Pam Bondi's orders, and we would have good reason to believe that they would then be also destroying evidence, and then the question is going to be, will we ever get what needs to be disclosed for full transparency in this case?
Yeah. Yep.
Amazing.
Right. Thank
Liz,
you.
Great to meet you.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day. All right, people. That was good. I'm going to read the other questions here. I don't want to. I know that Liz said she had to go at 1:00, but it is the ultimate flattery when people stay beyond their stated time frame with which to say. Plus, I think a lot of these questions I could answer, and I don't need to keep Liz here while I read Rumble rants and tipped questions. If there's a way, Encryptus, if there's a way to keep the super chats over on CommiTube, I'm going to see if I can go back to, there's a way to see them. I forget how do I do this? If I go here, I thought there was a way that I could see all of the tipped, the super chats over on CommiTube, but I don't, I don't think I can do it. Anyhow, let me get to some of these questions here. Hey, dude, Montgomery Sibley, attorney for the suicided DC madam for a SARD bar. Who is this? Merrick Garland sealed those Black Book records. Montgomery Sibley. I don't know who that is, but I'm curious and certainly going to look it up. We've got Spida. Why did the White House find it appropriate to hand out hyper-redacted human trafficking records as souvenirs? So, Speedy, I saw the other question. Let's just take out the as souvenirs, since that is a judgmental conclusion that qualifies the rest of the question. Why did they hand out the binders? I think if I'm strategizing this, and I want to do it in a way that's going to be maximum impactful to show the corruption of the SDNY withholding information, I said it when Liz was here, I hand out these binders and I say, this is what they wanted you to believe was the entire file. A, not the entire file, and B, largely redacted such that it tells you nothing. All the while, they defy my order to communicate the entire file, as evidenced by my request to them, to Kash Patel. And so the redaction of the binder is the most concrete evidence of the corruption. And then you put those two things together and roll it out properly, then the binder becomes relevant to show you that they're not communicating you the file. What they are communicating to you is heavily redacted to the point of uselessness, while they are refusing to comply with attorney orders from Attorney General Pam Bondi. And I think if you do it that way, it actually works. So that's why I don't think they handed them out as souvenirs to say, hey, here's a memento from the Epstein record. So that's what your question seems to, is presupposes. But if the question is just objective, that could be why they did it. I asked someone internally who printed them up, and the person's answer was they suspect it was the DOJ. So it wasn't as though the FBI from the Southern District of New York printed up 15 binders and said, here they are. I think they got a few binders, and then they made copies for the alternative media to give it to them, to break the story that the story was that the SDNY was refusing to comply. Once you understand that, and especially once you understand the fact that that meeting was not specifically scheduled for the Epstein files, it was an alternative media meet and greet, then it all makes a little bit more sense. And then maybe Pam Bondi says, look, okay, we got this alternative media coming in today. Maybe now's the time when we release some of the Epstein files, because we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. Now's a good day to do it and highlight the SDNY corruption and the big fuck up was that they let them post the picture of the binders gets leaked. They all look like, giddy as schoolgirls with such a serious binder, where everyone looking at that picture thinks that they were there specifically for an Epstein file meeting when they weren't, and they had just met with Maha. They get that picture goes viral, much like with Nicholas Salmon, because there's some analogies here, or there's some parallels, I should say. That picture goes viral while they're under an embargo to that would otherwise explain why they have those binders and why they have the letter and what the actual exclusive story is. That is what I believe occurred. And maybe it's because I didn't know Liz before today, but I did know that she's trustworthy. And maybe it's because I like Posobiec. Maybe it's because I like Cernovich. Maybe it's because I like Libs of TikTok. Maybe it's because I like Scott Pressler. Well, the ultimate irony in all of this is that Scott Pressler was hailed as a hero a month ago. He delivered Pennsylvania. He was hitting the ground every day of the week. Hero. And all of a sudden now, people on the internet want to shit all over him because of a ill-timed smile in a photograph. Get out of here. Part of me thinks that there's a lot of people, when accusing these folks of exploiting of social media for clickbait and audience gain, that's exactly what they're doing. Some might say that. Okay, did I get that one, Spidia? Let me see here. I think the Spidia, I got this one, right? Oh, no, hold on one second. Okay, so that was the souvenir. Then we got Slim Shagan. Viva, I watched both your live stream last night and your video on the Epstein list debacle before the bourbon last night. Thanks for those very informative. You should go on the quartering to show your take. I actually asked, we're going to try to stream. Maybe I'll see if when I end my stream, if I can go on with the quartering. We were going to try to co-stream today, but I don't know that it technically works out because we're on competing time frames. He's live right now as well. So I said maybe we could do it and co-stream because he goes live at 1:00. It didn't work out, but we'll do it. I have nothing against the quartering. I think some of his rage is sometimes misplaced. Other times it's not misplaced. This is just not one of those times where the enemy in this story is not the people in that picture. They're not the enemy. Viva, oh, thanks, guys. Okay. Appreciate you and doing the old school vlogs. Yeah, I'm getting back to those, but my goodness, they're time consuming. Let me see here. Viva Washi. Okay, we got this. This is Spidia. Asked why the White House find it appropriate to hand out hyper-redacted human trafficking records as souvenirs. Okay, I answered this question. And who had this genius decision? That we don't know. But appreciate handing out hyper-redacted documents when your purpose is to show corruption can be very impactful. Like when my brother makes FOIA requests up in Canada. Sorry. And when I've posted, look at the effing redactions. It's clear that from what they're giving you, they don't want you to know. So giving them hyper-redacted documents can help illustrate that point. It was strictly as a result of the botched, clumsy rollout, plus the embargo, plus people not knowing that they were there for a totally other reason, and it wasn't a specifically scheduled Epstein document release date meeting. That's one heck of a confluence of circumstances that allows for this misunderstanding to have taken on the epic proportions it has taken on. Okay, then we got Spidia with another question. The SDNY FBI did not make the White House to print up the binder. Okay, I think I've got this, right? Okay. Who made the decision to give the binders? Okay, I've got this question. Thank you for the support, but I got it and I'm not making fun. Okay, here we go. Why did Bondi go on TV the night before saying she had all the shocking records? Let me bring this up. I didn't want to futz around too much when Liz was here to find the full clip. I think I found it. I definitely did find it. Hold on. Cripe almighty. Hold on. I'm just going to go back here. It was in the search. I was searching up Jesse Waters, Pam Bondi. Let's watch the entire thing because I don't think that's what she said. Okay, pause it right here. This is the clip that people are sharing. I don't think what she said is we have all of the shocking information. Here.
One of the things a lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk, is when can we see them and what's taking so long to release them?
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
One of the things a lot of people are wondering, because you said last week that you have the Epstein
You're going to see
files.
some Epstein okay, now, did she mean new information or did she mean the letter that was going to show corruption. I agree. This is misleading or inaccurate. And so the question is just going to be, what was the intent? Was the intent this entire plot? What information was she talking about that she has yet to release, which would have required the redaction for information privacy? I agree. That particular statement is somewhat ambiguous, but it still doesn't say we have all the horrific things we're going to release it tomorrow. But and who knows? Maybe she shouldn't be doing quite so many. They're not press conferences, interviews. The more you talk, the more you can say something that can be misconstrued or that's less than 1,000% accurate, and people use it against you. So, point conceded on that. What do we got here? Why did Bondi go and say? Well, okay, so I think we addressed that, and it was not an accurate reflection of what she said entirely. But bringing up Abraham P. We trust no one in government, and empty words and hype makes Liz a grifter. Hold on. Liz is not in government, so this statement itself is mutually incompatible. Trust no one in government, that's fine. Empty words and hype makes Liz a grifter. Her words were not empty. A grifter. She's a journalist. If you think a journalist is not going to say exclusive, I've got an exclusive story because I was just at the White House and I got an exclusive story that the SDNY is not communicating documents to Pam Bondi despite her request, where you're using the word grifter where you should be using the word grafter. If anybody doesn't know what that means, hold up. No, I'm not using that window. I'm going to use this window. Grafter, in British parlance, it has multiple meanings. Okay, well, a grafter is someone who obtains money or benefits through dishonest or unfair. That's a grifter. It's a garden tool. It's a hard worker. Okay, no, here. The other grifter is typically what people use for someone who, tries to be, I don't know, whatever, dishonestly get. A grafter. In British slang, a grafter is a worker, especially one who's particularly industrious or dedicated. Look, calling people grifters, I mean, that's to say, like, anybody who expects to get paid for the work that they do is a grifter. A grifter is someone who makes a living by creating the strife from which they then profit. That's my definition of a grifter. So Liz is not only by no means a grifter, it's a silly accusation to make. Second, she's not in government. So she has nothing to do with how that rolled out. And I'm inclined to believe that what she said was, when she tweeted that, yeah, I got the exclusive. This binder is heavily redacted and they're not providing the rest of it. And we've got the letter to prove it. And it is an exclusive. Well, maybe it's not an exclusive because 7 other alternative media folk had it as well. Abrahambi, thank you. Free SC01. This makes a lot more sense of what has transpired. I think we all felt like we had been grifted by alternative media pundits that we had come to trust. My biggest question is, why was Cash not at SDNY days ago? My question is he there now? Pam Bondi's letter gave an 8 a.m. deadline with which, let me pull it up to make sure. But yeah, that's, this is why we need Gates. Okay, I got that. And then Encryptus, there's no effing way I got that one. Encryptus back over here says, the hate be strong in the chats today. The X vitriol has made it to YouTube and Rumble. I haven't really been following that much of the hate, but it's good. It's whatever. I Hate Death says, Pam Bondi thinking she had all the docs when she had 200 pages of already released guff raises competency questions to me. However, the most incompetent would be the House Judiciary Committee. Good God. That is one that's tough to reconcile, because unless I have video on my desk, and I don't want that video, but we know that there's video, we know that there's photographs. I mean, unless she just had no idea what was on her desk when she said the file is there for review, which is possible as well. But that's why, it's a transparency is one thing. Too much transparency, or the more you talk, and especially when you're overworked and you're over your head, the more you can say things which are not 1,000% accurate, or don't. Hey, dude, look at the file before you talk about what's to review. Maybe do that. Let me see here. Okay, the House Judiciary. We got the bird. The bird is the word. It is surprising that the SDNY and associated FBI office are intentionally making the Attorney General and Director look FBI look bad. Pam Bondi should assign a special prosecutor to pursue them today. I don't know how the hierarchy works between the FBI offices. And from what I understood, I listened to Barnes, Bourbon with Barnes at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. My understanding, I don't know that there's what the hierarchy is. If like the FBI field office from Florida can go and raid the one from New York, I don't think that's the case. Where was it? Was a good okay? Pursue them today. Ganthet says, "Don't talk about doing your job. Do your job, and people will shut up." Maybe she gives a few interviews. Get yourself some high tasty protein snacks. Biltong is packed with B12, iron, zinc, creatine, and more. Perfect for carnivore keto diets. Available at BiltongUSA.com. Use code 10 for 10% off. Biltong, thank you very much. I've got half a pack of the piri piri left over on the table that I'm going to eat today because I ate half of it yesterday. I'm not sure that I should be eating that much biltong, Anton. Slim Shaken says, thanks for the response. You burning people on Twitter is hilarious. Appreciate you and all you do. I had a good one. Oh, yeah. Someone says, So an account named Nevada Memes says, stick to Canadian politics, Canuck. And I said, stick to Nevada Memes. You see how that works? Stupid people. Stay to your lane. Stick to your lane. Here we go. I missed this one. Piran, I almost missed this one. Influencers are just talkers with access. They will put lipstick on this pig to save their access. Bottom line is they got sacked on first down. We'll never see the photos, videos, CDs, or documents. Okay. The second part has nothing to do with the first part. We might never see those videos, CDs, or documents. It might be that they're already in the hands of Mossad. And I say that not even tongue-in-cheek. I mean, everybody says, like he was a Mossad agent working for Mossad. Yeah. I also believe he was an agent working for the British government. He was an intelligence asset. There's no question. Epstein. The question is going to be, in as much as video and photo ever existed, and it did, who has it now? I obviously don't think Pam Bondi has it. In fact, I know that I would suspect that Pam Bondi doesn't have it. I would suspect the FBI doesn't have it. And it's probably already in the hands of the agencies that are going to continue to use it for blackmail and extortion. We'll see. Piran says, this is a war between those loyal to the institution and those loyal to the Constitution. That's the more logical. It's the deep state. Like it's not because Kash Patel got confirmed last week that it's going to change the FBI agents working in the field office in the Southern District of New York. It's a big, swampy creature that is going to be slow to kill, metaphorically speaking. Best version of the bird of the word. Is this the Family Guy one? Let me see if this is. I'm not even going to play it because it'll get claimed on CommuTube. Textmaster, this F up is up there with Vivek's H1B remarks. I would work that in, Viva. It's too late for that now, but I think I'll tell you my ending comments on this in a second. Part of my comment deleted somehow, but the reason for the second ands also just my feelings on Liz, and I respect your point, Abraham. Thank you. I don't know. I pronounce it so much like Israeli. This is Abraham. It could be Abraham, but no, we're going to go with Abraham. And last one that I haven't gotten to yet. The interest of the country is more important than keeping the victim secret, and that doesn't stop the listeners of the listing of abusers. Well, this is the issue also. Like, okay, so you got your Rolodex of potential clients. It's not a client list of the trafficker clients. I would like to see who went to the island specifically. The flight logs also does not, it includes flight logs to Africa, from New York to Florida. Flight logs to and from the island. I want to know the guest list on the island. Again, not hard proof of criminality, but a damn good indication of something pretty close. Let me see if there's a way that I can find top chats. No, that's not live chat. Fan funding. Oh, look at this. I can bring them up like this. Okay, good. Let me. Do I want to show this? No, I'll just read them. Sporty1275 over on CommuTube says, I told you we will only get strongly worded letters. For now, you're right. Although yes, for now, you're right. There has been massive progress on Doge. There has been massive progress on pardoning Jan 6ers. So you're getting results. Don't be say, yeah, but what have you done for me lately attitude, because that's what a lot of people are. Well, I didn't get the list of everything I wanted on Epstein. Dude, you got 1,500 pardons of Jan 6ers. You got commutations. You've got Doge sacking or, exposing corruption left, right, and center. Yeah, but I didn't get my Epstein, so therefore it's only strongly worded letters. Bull crap. Don't be ungrateful for what you've got, and don't adopt this "but what have you done for me today" attitude to forget about what he's done over the last 2 months, which in and of itself has been monumental. Ghislaine Maxwell's father was wrong. Oh, this is from Free Men Die Free. Dude, I did a whole thing on this. I actually had on. Shit, I feel bad always. I had on Ian Carroll. We talked about it briefly. Come on, the young lady who lives in South America, who's the master of all of this. I feel so bad when I can't remember names of people who I like and interact with. I need to go to the chat for this one. What's her name? Encryptus, what's her name? She wrote the book, part 1 and 2, America, a Nation Under Blackmail. A, B, C, D.
Let's see. I've got the book here by Whitney
Webb. Damn it. Okay, thank you. Damn it. I would have gotten there when I got to W. So yeah, Whitney Webb. So let me read this. Free Men Die says, Ghislaine Maxwell's father was Robert Maxwell, a Mossad super spy. Pam Bondi declared unconditional loyalty to Israel. Bongino admitted Epstein was the intel asset from the Middle East. It's obvious why. Hold on. When did Pam Bondi declare unconditional loyalty to Israel? What does that even mean? Because you can declare loyalty to Israel, certainly not declaring loyalty to the Israeli government. And who do you think? Like, who do you think she'd be protecting? So the idea here would be, because the clients are not going to be Israeli. I mean, there'll probably be some Israeli clients, but the clients would be international. Prince Andrew, Bill Gates, Reid Hoffman. The idea is that by releasing it, it would confirm that Israel was behind it, at least that he was a Mossad spy, and so that she is running cover interference, because disclosing the Epstein files would confirm, in fact, that Epstein was a Mossad super spy. And that would cause people to have a negative impression of Israel. I mean, first of all, the American government performed human experimentation on their own population it was years ago. So I presume even if this is true, this would be like at least maybe as recent as a decade ago. It's not an inconceivable theory. Ghislaine Maxwell, her father was Robert Maxwell. He was, in fact, by all accounts, something of a spy. I think not exclusive to Israel, Britain, Eastern Europe, America as well. Go watch my episode with Whitney Webb. It was great. Ian Carroll, we talked about it. Barnes and I have done multiple segments on Ghislaine Maxwell. And it's not entirely implausible. Cody Dicha says, whether the influencers were notified in advance or not, it was a ridiculous stunt put on by the DOJ. Trust has been lost. Well, I mean, if that's your threshold for trust being irreparably lost, then you would have found an excuse at some point anyhow. I'd say that it was. I think it was just a strategic, absolute fuck up. Knowing all of the details right now. What else? I mean, how else do we talk about anything else after all of that? Let me just go escape over here and see what's going on the Twitterverse, and see if I'm.
We do have one more thing for you. If you take a look in the backdrop, there is a recent truth from Donald Trump that you might find interesting.
Is it the AI generated what he plans to do with the Middle East? Because even I think that was a pretty stupid thing to put up. All right, no.
Looks like peace in Ukraine might be dead.
Dead.
Please take a look.
This is on Truth. Truth wants to send me notifications. No, I don't want those. Okay, I'm gonna open. I don't know. Tell me if I'm not an incognito. I don't think there's anything in here. A statement from President Donald J. Trump on his Truth account, Donald J. Trump. We had a very meaningful meeting in the White House today. Much was learned that could never be understood without conversation under such fire and pressure. It's amazing what comes through emotion. It's amazing what comes out through emotion, and I have determined that President Zelensky is not ready for peace if America is involved, because he feels our involvement gives him a big advantage in negotiations. I don't want advantage. I want peace. He disrespected the United States of America in its cherished Oval Office. He can come back when he is ready for peace. Holy shit. Is that another bitch slapping? Just gonna say next time he comes back, he can wear a suit. Yeah, that's wow. That is a legit in Cryptus. That's not a parody account.
No, that's the actual Donald Trump account, and that was brought to us care of Stephen Britton, who brought that up.
Wow. Oh, and I see. Okay, that's wild. Okay, doesn't look good. All right, what do we do? Hold on, we've been an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, what do I do here? I was going to talk about other stuff. What did I put in the header in the title for today's show?
The Epstein document release debacle, live with Liz Wheeler talking about the scandal.
Okay, good. So I will not be accused of false advertising if I don't get to anything that I didn't get to. I will highlight one thing. Speaking of being fair, I do want to highlight this. Let me see here. I'm going to go Viva. It's going to go to Twitter. Viva Frei shit eating. And this is not about poop. I just remember what I said in this tweet. Here we go. This is the one. When people say, like, because I've been DMing people, it's like, I really think you need to extend a little bit more good grace to these people. We're not dealing with scoundrels. We're not dealing with Harry J. Sisson. And then I'm thinking, okay, somebody wants to go and say Viva's such a hypocrite. He judged someone for a smile in a picture. Here, I remember exactly where it was. Right here. Karina Gould running for the leadership of the Liberal Party. Oh, hold on, I actually have to go back to the original video. What was the original video? Oh, yeah, it was her just talking about, I said, so where's the part where I said, I know that it said, here you posed with a literal Nazi with a shit-eating grin on your stupid face, you ignorant buffoon. Now, I went hard because she has a history of being a liar. If it were the first time, I once posted a thing that I actually felt a little bit bad about, and I think I deleted it, or I decided not to post it. Every picture of David Hogg smiling, there's a very unique, he does a very unique, specific thing with his face. I was like, okay, you can't make fun of someone for the way their photo face. I will make fun of people who I know are deceitful scoundrels for having shit-eating grins on their face when they're saluting Nazis and giving them standing ovations when they treat other people like scum and accuse them of being Nazis. But people need to give a little bit of grace to everyone involved. So, I mean, unless you don't like him in the first place and you're looking for any excuse, go ahead. In Cryptus, what was the initial part of that thought that I forgot about now? Oh, that's right. Bringing it back to the picture of Mark Carney. So the other day, I also read the comments, and people are saying, "Viva, this isn't fair." I posted this picture. Saying, hey, Mark Carney, is that who? Mark Carney, who is that with you in this picture? That's Ghislaine Maxwell, and that's Mark Carney's wife. I need to get this out of incognito mode because the reply to this was hilarious. Hold on one second. So I for a second, I took a pause back and I said, okay, I feel a little guilty. Maybe I'm up to some double standard action myself. Okay, I'll bring this up. So, okay, fine. It's one picture. There's a lot of picture of Trump with the. This is it's relatively recent. It's not entirely recent. And then you got Keith Wilson, who's counsel at the JCC, not the JCCF. He's an attorney in Canada. Amazing guy. Posts this picture where apparently they don't look too happy. And then, hold on, I want to show you. So I felt a little bad. I was like, okay, maybe it was intended to be, tongue in cheek anyhow. But then I go and just put in a few key search words and came across something funny. Oh, I have to go find it here. Hold on 1 second. Mark Carney, I've been going hard on him for a little while because I think he's a WEF globalist stooge who's going to destroy Canada at a rate that you could not even imagine, because everybody says, look, the successor, everybody always says the successor is worse than the last one. Like, oh God, when DeSantis was looking good, everyone was like, he's now the new Hitler. But interesting. Oh, here we go. No, what the heck, man? Where's the one where I found articles about Mark Carney having attended a party with Andrew, with the Epstein list, Prince Andrew afterwards? It's a small world. Mark Carney was in Britain, Bank of England, on the board, and attending lavish dinner parties with Prince Andrew after the whole Epstein story had broke. But bottom line, they're all a bunch. Oh, what's this? Post-millennial. Ooh. I wonder what Zelensky said that could have been so bad to warrant that level of public evisceration.
Would you like to see? I posted that link as well.
I just saw that. Let me see. Oh, this is the post-millennial article?
Scroll up slightly. Click on the Eric Doe post from X.
Okay, hold on. Let me do this here.
You absolutely want to play this one.
Do we want to save it for the locals after party? Now we'll play it now, and then we're going to go over to locals. Let me put this here. And all right. We're playing this. Is this? Ooh, I love not knowing what's going to happen, but it looks based on body language already that okay. All right. No, it's not this. It's not this. Eric Daugherty, is it this one? It's this one. Okay, you ready? I'm not even going to read the caption.
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are not
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to
come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
That.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
I'm not dictating.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very strong.
We are one step away from Zelensky or Ukraine doing something saboteurish, if it already hasn't done it once or twice, to the hand that's been feeding it for a little bit too long. This is wild.
We're going to feel very
good. You will
good.
feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war,
you're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. But right now, you don't. Yeah, you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. It's back to you. Far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
even
entire
today.
Meeting, you said thank you.
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
That's pretty wild. You will feel the influence. I mean, that sounded like a threat. Zelensky was misguided by Obama, Biden, EU, NATO, and FAFO'd, says J.P. Crumble, 1776. Ukraine will become our 52nd state if it keeps effing around. Wow. Well, that's wild. Zelensky couldn't do any worse when he. The problem is his English is also, it makes it difficult, but that is much more intense than I thought it was going to be.
Thought you'd like that.
Yeah, that's wild. Was it what you brought up here? Is this? Eric, that was it. Okay. Holy cow, man, that makes me uncomfortable to watch. Ever wonder why Macron and Starmer are visiting now? Ever wonder why King Charles extended another invitation to Trump? They're scared, says Piran. And Encryptus says over here, the voice you're hearing, I will provide the cleaned list of to and from the island and all the details if and when possible. The processing of the logs is underway. Can show an example. Amazing. People, that was great. Come on over to, we're gonna end this and we're gonna have our after party at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Let me just make sure that I haven't missed any tipped questions from our locals community. Encryptus, Denise Ann, Encryptus, Textmaster, Slim Shagan, Ganthit, I Hate Death, Thanatophobia, Pam Bondi thinking she had all the docs. Okay, I got that. So I think I've got all of them over here. We're gonna have our after party over on vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Here's the link. And then I'll see, I don't know how long. That's not the link. That's the link to the tweet. Here's the link to our vivabarneslaw.locals.com after party. And one last thing, actually. We'll watch a couple of videos. We got a couple of videos there. And what do we got here? I wanted to go to... Oh, yeah, that's right. Louis the Lobster. Keep forgetting, people, to promote the book that I wrote, my wife put together, and a member of our community's daughter illustrated. Louis the Lobster Returns to the Sea over on Amazon.com. Leave a review if you get one. I'm told that the more 5-star reviews, the better it gets promoted over there. But Louis the Lobster Returns to the Sea, $14.99 American, which is about $45 Canadian these days. I'm joking, but go check it out. Check it out, eh? And now, if you want to hang around in the chat, I don't know how long the chat stays live once we make the transition over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. But come on over because we're going to have an after party there in a matter of minutes. Thank you all for being here. I hope everyone understands what happened better. I certainly do. And I like Liz Wheeler. There, I said it platonically as a journalist. I also like Glenn Beck. I mean, I appreciate Glenn Beck's sense of his logic. I like. I'm listening to him analyze all of the scenarios, and you can tell it's someone who's played chess, and not in any just like the idea of okay, steel man every position and think about all the possibilities. I hadn't actually thought of the possibility that Pam Bondi is protecting Israel by not releasing the list. It's not impossible. Therefore, I shan't disregard it as being impossible. I just think it's wildly implausible. All right. With that said, come on over to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. 3, 2, 1.